Welcome to Innovation Brief by IdeaScale, where we turn your work team into innovators.
We're all working towards something better,
Yeah,
right? Like whether it's the businesses that we're running, the places we live in our communities.
like absolutely.
And what if I told you that the key to unlocking progress wasn't coming from the top down, but from the collective intelligence of all of us, like the people that we work with, the people that we serve? Are we really tapping into that potential?
That is the question, isn't it? And, we talk about crowdsourcing sometimes, but do we really go beyond just like simple surveys and polls on social media? Like, what if we could use that collective brain power to do something big, something really impactful for, our cities and for our organizations?
Yeah, exactly. We're not just talking about, just getting a surface level opinion, right?
Right.
We're talking about digging deep and seeing how this kind of deep engagement can lead to like really surprising and powerful outcomes. And that's what we're going to look at today.
Yeah.
Like, how can you as an innovation leader apply these ideas to your own work and make things more creative, more effective?
Absolutely. And for all of you listening in, whether you're a CEO, a CIO, a director, or a tech leader, this is for you. So let's start with something fundamental, like how we actually interact with our cities. Like, have you ever thought about the 311 system?
Oh, yeah, the 3-woman system.
Like, at first glance, it seems like a pretty simple way to, report non-emergency stuff, but it's actually got a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, it does. I know it started in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, it did.
But it's way more than just giving people a different number to call, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not just about a different number. Back then, research was showing that people were calling 911 for like every real emergencies and, just small stuff too. And that was obviously putting a lot of strain on emergency services and meant that a lot of everyday problems weren't getting solved quickly.
So 311 became that go-to for those non-emergency things.
Exactly.
Like a pothole that needs fixing or a noisy neighbor or even, if your pet runs away. But it's more than just a place to complain, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. It's so much more than that. I mean, yes, it helps people by connecting them to the right department, but all that data from those calls, it's like gold.
Oh, yeah.
When you see a bunch of reports about the same problem in one area, like let's say a street with a bunch of broken streetlights, that's like a signal. The city can then step in and fix things before they get worse.
That's amazing. So it's not just about reacting, it's about using data to see the bigger picture and make the city run better. I mean, this makes me think, could a company have its own version of a 311 system?
That's a really interesting thought. Like, imagine a system where employees can easily report things that aren't working well, suggest new ideas or point out problems that their managers might not see. This kind of system could really make communication inside the company smoother, and it could help everyone spot issues before they become big headaches.
It's like having a constant feedback loop, right?
Yeah.
Always listening and tweaking things.
Exactly.
So we've talked about fixing potholes, but what about rewriting the rules of a whole country? That's what Iceland did, and it's pretty amazing. They actually crowdsourced their constitution.
It's a pretty incredible story. After the big financial crisis in 2009 and all the protests that followed, there was this real feeling that Iceland needed a big change. Like, they wanted to rethink how their society worked from the ground up.
And they decided to let the people write a new constitution. That's bold. How did that even work?
So they elected this constitutional council, and they launched this huge crowdsourcing project. It wasn't just about throwing out random ideas, though. People shared their thoughts online and in public meetings, and then the council took all that feedback and turned it into official recommendations.
Yeah.
All within, the existing laws of Iceland.
So there was still expert input and legal checks. It wasn't chaos.
Exactly. And the end result. It's a constitution that truly reflects what the people of Iceland want and value. In a time of crisis, they turn to their citizens for solutions, and that's pretty powerful.
So for those of us leading innovation, this is food for thought. Maybe we're not rewriting our company's constitution.
Right.
But how can we get everyone involved? Employees, customers, even partners. How do we create a space where they can help shape our values, our strategies, and how we approach innovation?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's about understanding that amazing ideas can come from anywhere and building systems that capture those ideas and use them to make real decisions about the future of our organizations. Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about something more local and community-focused, third spaces. And, Boston's a great example of
Yeah,
this.
third spaces.
Yeah.
Like those places that aren't our homes or our offices.
Exactly.
Coffee shops, libraries, parks, those places where we connect and build community. But in a city like Boston with high property values, it's a challenge to create and keep those spaces.
And Boston has found a really smart way to deal with this challenge with something called the Public Space Invitational. It's a yearly competition where they basically crowdsource ideas for new public spaces or ways to improve existing ones.
So they're tapping into the creativity of the community to make the city better and bring people together. And this has been going on for a while, right?
Yeah, for quite some time. It started in 2014, and the sixth one wrapped up in 2020. They've had all kinds of awesome ideas come out of this competition, from those big, colorful murals that brighten up neglected areas to smaller things like community gardens and even those inviting window displays that make walking down the street more enjoyable.
It's about creating that feeling of community,
Yeah.
that sense of belonging. But how do we apply this to our organizations? We can't exactly build parks inside our offices.
Yeah, true. We can't build parks inside, but the idea is the same. Think about creating those third spaces inside your company, both physical and virtual spaces where people can relax, connect, and brainstorm without the pressure of work. It could be a comfy lounge area or an online forum where people share their hobbies and chat. These spaces can spark creativity and build a stronger team spirit.
It's all about creating those water cooler moments, right?
Yep, exactly.
Those chance encounters that lead to those aha moments. And for our last example, we're going high-tech with New Rochelle's augmented reality project.
This is a really clever solution to a problem that cities often face. How do you explain complicated plans for development to the people who will be most affected by them? In the past, people would just get blueprints and technical drawings, which are really hard to understand unless you're an architect.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine what a new building or a change to the streets will actually look and feel like just by looking at a flat drawing. So New Rochelle decided to use augmented reality to solve that problem.
Exactly. They created an app for smartphones that lets people see what proposed changes will look like in real life. So you can stand in a park and use the app to see how a new building will fit into the landscape or visualize a redesigned street. It makes it so much easier to grasp the scale and the impact of those changes.
It's like bringing those plans to life.
Yeah, and when people can actually see and understand the changes, they can give much better feedback. It makes them active participants in the planning process.
That's a really powerful tool for communication and collaboration. So for those of us leading innovation, maybe we could use AR and VR to showcase new product designs or explain changes to the workplace.
Definitely. Imagine being able to give your team a virtual tour of a new product before it's even built, or let them experience a new workflow in a simulation. It could make everyone understand and get on board with new ideas much faster.
It's all about turning abstract concepts into something real and tangible. So we've seen lots of different examples today, from those practical 311 systems to Iceland's ambition of rewriting their constitution, Boston's community focus with third spaces, and New Rochelle's cutting-edge use of augmented reality. What's the main takeaway from all of this?
I think it all boils down to understanding that crowdsourcing has become so much more than just collecting ideas. It's about how we participate, how we understand each other, and how we work together to create better outcomes in our communities and our organizations.
So for all of you listening, whether you're a CIO, a CEO, a director, or a tech leader, think about how you can build systems that tap into the collective wisdom of your team, ready to turn your work team into innovators.
Book a demo for a free trial at IdeaScale.com.
And make sure to subscribe for more deep dives every Tuesday and Friday. And tell us what you think. Share your comments below. We want to hear your experiences.
Absolutely.
And here's something to think about. As our world becomes even more connected, how can you build systems that not only collect great ideas, but also empower people to take action together and build a better future?
That's what it's all about.
For themselves, their organizations, and the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, that's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you then.